Sometimes kindness is the only currency that matters. Maya Chen had learned this lesson the hard way, stripped of everything but her dignity and the fierce love she bore for her daughter. Standing in the pre-dawn cold outside the Riverside Diner where she worked the morning shift, counting the last $5 in her wallet, she understood that wealth wasn't measured in bank accounts, but in the small choices that defined who you were when no one was watching. The November wind cut through her threadbare coat as she clutched her daughter Lily's hand. 4 years old, with dark curls that matched her own and eyes too wise for her age, Lily had stopped asking why they couldn't go to the toy store or why their apartment was so small. She'd learned, as Maya had, to be grateful for what they had. Each other, a roof over their heads, and enough food to get by. Barely. "Mama, that man looks cold," Lily whispered, pointing to the figure huddled against the brick wall of the alley beside the diner. Maya had seen him before, always in the same spot, wrapped in layers of ragged clothing, his face hidden beneath a hood. Most people crossed the street to avoid him. Maya had too, at first. But lately, something about his stillness called to her, a recognition of suffering that mirrored her own. "He is cold, baby," Maya replied, looking down at the $5 bill in her hand. It was supposed to buy Lily's breakfast after Maya's shift. They had cereal at home, though not much. They would make do. She approached the homeless man slowly, not wanting to startle him. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly. "I'm about to start my shift at the diner. Can I bring you some coffee? Maybe a breakfast sandwich?" The man's head lifted slightly. She caught a glimpse of stubble, a strong jaw, eyes that seemed to glow amber even in the dim light. Something flickered in his expression. Surprise, perhaps, or disbelief. "You don't have to do that," he said, his voice a low rumble that sent an unexpected shiver down her spine. Not the harsh rasp she'd expected, but cultured, controlled. "I know I don't have to," Maya replied, her chin lifting with quiet dignity. "I want to. Everyone deserves kindness, especially when the world's been unkind." Those amber eyes held hers for a long moment, and Maya found herself unable to look away. There was something about him, something that didn't quite fit the homeless exterior. Intelligence burned behind those eyes, and an intensity that made her heart beat faster. "Black coffee," he said finally. "And thank you." "I'll be right back," Maya promised, taking Lily's hand and leading her into the diner's warm interior. Her manager, Diane, looked up from the register with a frown. "You're early, and you know the rule about bringing your kid to work." "I know. I'm sorry. My babysitter canceled last minute, and I couldn't afford to miss my shift. She'll be quiet, I promise. She can sit in the back booth with her coloring book." Maya's voice held the practiced steadiness of someone who'd learned not to show desperation, even when drowning in it. Diane sighed, but nodded. "Fine. But if Mr. Harrison sees her..." "I know. Thank you." Maya settled Lily in the far corner booth with crayons and paper, then tied on her apron with practiced efficiency. "Diane, can I order a coffee and a breakfast sandwich? I'll pay for it out of my tips." The manager's eyebrow rose. "For that homeless guy outside?" "Maya, you can barely afford to feed yourself and your daughter." "He's hungry," Maya said simply, as if that explained everything. Perhaps it did. Diane shook her head but rang up the order. "You're too kind for your own good, girl. This world will eat you alive." Maybe it already had, Maya thought, remembering the father of her child, the man who'd promised forever and delivered abandonment the moment he learned she was pregnant. The job she'd lost when her pregnancy became visible. The friends who'd drifted away when she could no longer afford to keep up. The family who'd disowned her for her mistake. But kindness wasn't about what you could afford to give. It was about giving what you couldn't afford not to. She brought the food outside, where the homeless man waited in the same position, as if he hadn't moved at all. When she held out the coffee and sandwich, his fingers brushed hers. The contact sent heat racing up her arm, despite the cold. "Thank you," he said, and something in his voice made her pause. Not gratitude exactly, but something deeper. Recognition, perhaps. "You're welcome," Maya replied, then hesitated. "I'm Maya, by the way. I work here most mornings if you ever need anything else." Maya, he repeated, as if testing the name on his tongue. You can call me Kai. Nice to meet you, Kai. She smiled, genuine warmth lighting her face despite the exhaustion that clung to her bones. As she turned to go back inside, she missed the way his amber eyes tracked her movement with predatory focus. Missed the way his nostrils flared, as if scenting something in the air. Missed the way his fingers tightened on the coffee cup, until the cardboard nearly crumpled. Inside the diner, Diane watched through the window with a knowing expression. That homeless man's been hanging around for 3 weeks now. Never begs, never causes trouble. Just watches. Maybe he's just trying to survive, like the rest of us, Maya said, checking on Lily before starting her morning prep. What she didn't know, couldn't possibly know, was that Kai Blackwood, billionaire developer, alpha of the most powerful pack in the city, owner of half the real estate in a 50-mile radius, had been watching her for those 3 weeks. Had positioned himself outside this specific diner, in this specific spot, because the woman who'd just given him her last $5 was the same woman who'd haunted his dreams for months. The same woman whose scent called to his wolf in a way nothing else ever had. The same woman who had no idea that her life was about to change forever. Chapter 1. The morning rush at Riverside Diner was always brutal. Maya moved through it with the efficiency of long practice, refilling coffee cups, taking orders, delivering plates of eggs and bacon while keeping one eye on Lily in the corner booth. Her daughter was being remarkably good, quietly coloring and nibbling on the single piece of toast Maya had snuck her. "Table 6 needs more coffee," Diane called out. "And that guy in the corner booth keeps staring at you." Maya glanced up to find a middle-aged man in an expensive suit watching her with unconcealed interest. She'd seen the type before, men who thought a waitress was fair game, who didn't see past the apron to the person wearing it. She approached with her professional smile firmly in place. "More coffee, sir?" "Actually, I was hoping for your number," he said, leaning back with the confidence of someone who rarely heard the word no. "A beautiful woman like. You shouldn't be working in a place like this." "I like my job," Maya replied evenly. "Now, about that coffee?" His smile turned cold. "Playing hard to get? Let me put this in terms you'll understand. I could make your life a lot easier, or a lot harder." He glanced meaningfully at Lily. "That your kid? Must be tough raising a child on waitress tips." Maya's grip tightened on the coffee pot. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to... Is there a problem here?" The voice came from behind her, that same low rumble she'd heard outside. Maya turned to find Kai standing just inside the diner's entrance. In the fluorescent light, she could see him more clearly now. Despite the ragged clothing, there was something commanding about the way he held himself. Tall, easily 6'3", with broad shoulders that the layers of coats couldn't quite hide. His face, while shadowed with stubble, held a savage beauty, high cheekbones, a strong jaw, lips that curved with controlled intensity. But it was his eyes that held her captive. Amber, almost golden, burning with something that made the air between them feel charged. "This doesn't concern you, homeless," the suited man sneered. "Go back to your alley." Something flickered in Kai's expression, there and gone so quickly Maya almost missed it. Not anger, but something colder. More dangerous. "The lady asked you to leave," Kai said, his voice dropping to a near growl that sent shivers down Maya's spine. "I suggest you listen." "Or what?" The man stood, puffing out his chest. "You'll bleed on me?" Maya stepped between them instinctively. "Please, both of you, this isn't necessary." "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave now, or I'll call." The suited man grabbed her wrist, yanking her toward him. "I don't take orders from some poverty case waitress." He didn't finish the sentence. In one fluid motion, Kai had the man's arm twisted behind his back, forcing him face down onto the table with enough controlled force to rattle the silverware but not enough to injure. "Touch her again," Kai said quietly, "and I'll break every bone in your hand." The threat was delivered with such calm certainty that the entire diner went silent. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs, torn between fear and something else, something that made her skin feel too hot despite the lingering cold. Diane, call the police. She managed, finding her voice. No need, the suited man gasped, face red with humiliation. I'm leaving. Jesus Christ, what is this city coming to when homeless trash can assault people? Kai released him with a slight push, and the man scrambled toward the door, throwing one last venomous glare over his shoulder. You'll regret this. Both of you. As the door slammed shut, the normal din of the diner gradually resumed. Maya became aware that her hand was shaking, that Lily had climbed out of the booth and was clutching her leg. Are you all right? Kai asked, and the concern in his voice surprised her. I'm fine, she said automatically, then realized it wasn't quite true. Actually, thank you. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. The intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. No one touches you like that. The possessiveness in his tone should have alarmed her. Instead, it sent warmth flooding through her chest. She forced herself to step back, to remember her circumstances, his circumstances. You should probably go before Diane decides to ban you for causing a scene. Kai's lips curved slightly. Your manager is currently telling the other waitress that I'm her new favorite person for defending you. I'm safe. Maya glanced over to find Diane nodding approvingly. She let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Still, you've had enough excitement for one morning. Have I? His gaze held hers. I think my morning's just getting interesting. Heat rushed to her cheeks. Was I flirting with her? No, that was ridiculous. He was homeless, and she was a struggling single mother who could barely keep her head above water. Whatever this strange tension between them was, it couldn't go anywhere. I should get back to work, she said, already turning away. Maya. The way he said her name stopped her. When does your shift end? She looked back, confusion written across her face. Why? Because I'd like to talk to you, properly, without tables and customers between us. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? He stepped closer, not threatening, but deliberate. Because I'm homeless? Because people might judge you for being seen with me? Because I don't know you, Maya said firmly. And because I have a daughter to think about. I can't afford to make mistakes. Understanding flickered in his eyes. Then let me prove I'm not a mistake. Have coffee with me. 1 cup. In a public place. If you're uncomfortable at any point, you can leave. No questions asked. Maya bit her lip, torn between caution and something else. A pull she couldn't quite name. This man had defended her without hesitation, had looked at her with something that felt like genuine interest rather than the predatory hunger she'd learned to recognize in other men's eyes. The coffee shop 3 blocks down, she heard herself say. 2 o'clock. I can give you half an hour during my break. Something lit in Kai's expression, triumph mixed with something softer. 2 o'clock. I'll be there. As he left, Maya found Diane beside her, arms crossed but smiling. That man's trouble, girl. The good kind. There's no such thing as good trouble, Maya replied, but her heart was beating too fast for the words to hold weight. Maybe not. But there's also no such thing as a homeless man who moves like a fighter and speaks like a college professor. That one's got secrets. Maya watched through the window as Kai disappeared into the November morning. Diane was right. He did have secrets. The question was whether Maya could afford to get close enough to discover what they were. Chapter 2. The coffee shop was nothing special, just another chain location with laminate tables and mass-produced art on the walls. But when Maya pushed through the door at precisely 2 o'clock, she felt her breath catch in her throat. Kai sat in the far corner booth, and in the afternoon light streaming through the windows, she could see him clearly for the first time. He'd cleaned up. Gone were the layers of ragged coats, replaced by simple dark jeans and a black Henley that clung to the powerful lines of his body. His dark hair was still damp, pushed back from a face that made her pulse skip erratically. He was beautiful. Not conventionally handsome, but striking in a way that seemed almost dangerous. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw shadowed with deliberate stubble, and those eyes, amber and gold and absolutely mesmerizing. When he stood at her approach, she noticed how he moved, fluid, controlled, with a predatory grace that seemed at odds with his supposed circumstances. You came, he said, and she heard relief in his voice. I said I would. Maya slid into the seat across from him, hyper-aware of the space between them, of the way his scent reached across the table, something clean and wild, like pine and mountain air. Though I'm still not sure why I agreed to this. Because you felt it too, Kai said simply. When our eyes met this morning, when our hands touched, there's something between us, Maya. Something neither of us can quite explain. She wanted to deny it, wanted to laugh it off as exhaustion or loneliness or a dozen other rational explanations. But something in his intensity demanded honesty. I felt something, she admitted quietly. But feeling something doesn't mean acting on it is wise. I have responsibilities. A daughter who depends on me. I can't afford to make impulsive decisions. Then don't think of this as impulsive. He leaned forward slightly, and she caught herself mirroring the movement before she realized what she was doing. Think of it as two people getting to know each other. Coffee and conversation. Nothing more than that unless you want there to be. Why me? The question escaped before she could stop it. You could talk to anyone. Why a struggling single mother who can barely afford her rent? Something flickered in his expression, pain, perhaps, or longing. Because you're the first person in 3 weeks who saw me as a person rather than a problem to avoid. Because you gave me your last $5 when you needed it more than I did. Because when you smile at your daughter, I see the kind of love I've spent my life searching for. Maya's throat tightened. You don't know anything about me. Then tell me. His voice dropped to that low rumble that made her skin feel too warm. Tell me everything. I want to know who Maya Chen really is beneath the exhaustion and the survival. She shouldn't. Every instinct screamed that getting involved with this man, homeless, secretive, far too intense, was a mistake she couldn't afford to make. But when had life ever rewarded her for playing it safe? I'm 26, she heard herself say, born and raised in the city. I was studying art history at the university when I got pregnant. The father, he wanted me to get rid of it. When I refused, he left. My family disowned me for bringing shame on them. I lost my scholarship, my apartment, most of my friends. I've been working whatever jobs I can find ever since, trying to give Lily the kind of stability I no longer have. Kai listened without judgment, his amber eyes never leaving her face. When she finished, he reached across the table, his large hand covering hers. The contact sent electricity racing up her arm. You're stronger than you know, he said. Raising a child alone, working yourself to exhaustion, and still finding it in your heart to help a stranger. That takes courage most people never find. Or stupidity, Maya replied, but she didn't pull her hand away. My manager thinks I'm too kind for my own good. Your manager doesn't understand that kindness is its own kind of strength. He paused, then added softly, Tell me about Lily. Maya's face lit up in a way that made his chest ache. She's everything. Smart, funny, so much braver than I ever was. She asks questions about everything. Why the sky is blue, where birds go in winter, whether stars have feelings. Sometimes I think she's an old soul trapped in a 4-year-old body. She gets that from you, Kai observed. That combination of strength and gentleness. You don't know me well enough to know what I have, don't I? His thumb traced slow circles on the back of her hand, the gesture intimate despite its innocence. I know you work multiple shifts at a diner that pays minimum wage. I know you put your daughter's needs before your own without hesitation. I know you see people, really see them, in a way most people lost the capacity for years ago. I know enough, Maya. She found herself, leaning closer, drawn by the intensity of his gaze. What about you? You've learned all these things about me, but I know nothing about you. Not really. Kai's expression shuddered slightly. What do you want to know? Everything. She turned her hand over, lacing her fingers through his. The boldness of the gesture surprised her, but it felt right, natural. Who you are, where you came from. How someone who speaks like you, who moves like you, ended up homeless on a November street. For a long moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he sighed, the sound heavy with old pain. I wasn't always homeless. Once I had everything, wealth, power, status. I lost it all because I made choices that others considered. Unacceptable. What kind of choices? His eyes met hers, and she saw something wild flickering behind the amber. I chose honor over profit, loyalty over ambition. I stood up to people who didn't like being challenged, and they made sure I paid for it. That's remarkably vague, Maya observed. A hint of a smile touched his lips. Let's just say that some battles can't be won without losing everything else in the process. I lost my home, my reputation, nearly my life. But I survived. I always survive. And now, I'm rebuilding. Slowly, carefully, staying invisible while I gather my strength. He squeezed her hand gently. Until 3 weeks ago, when I saw a woman with dark curls and tired eyes buying coffee at 6 in the morning, and something inside me recognized her, knew her, even though we'd never met. Maya's breath caught. That's impossible. Is it? His voice dropped to barely more than a whisper. Haven't you felt it, Maya? This pull between us? Like we were meant to find each other? She wanted to deny it. Wanted to laugh at the absurdity of fate and destiny, and all the other romantic nonsense she'd stopped believing in when reality had crushed her dreams. But she couldn't, because she had felt it. From the moment their eyes had first met, she'd been aware of him in a way that defied logic. I don't believe in destiny, she said finally. I believe in choices, in working hard and hoping for the best. Then choose this, Kai urged. Choose to spend time with me. Let me take you to dinner, somewhere nicer than this coffee shop. Let me show you that not all men are like Lily's father. I can't afford a babysitter for dinner dates. Then bring her. The suggestion was immediate, sincere. I'd like to meet the little girl who has your eyes and your courage. Maya studied him, searching for any sign of deception or ulterior motive. She found only openness and something that looked dangerously like hope. One dinner? She heard herself say. But somewhere casual, nowhere expensive. The pizza place on 5th Street? She blinked in surprise. You know it? I know every restaurant in this city, he replied, a strange note in his voice. That one has the best pepperoni pizza and an arcade that kids love. Saturday at 6, Maya agreed, ignoring the voice in her head that screamed she was making a mistake. And Kai? If you hurt my daughter in any way, I won't. The promise in his eyes was absolute. I would die before I let harm come to either of you. The intensity of his declaration should have frightened her. Instead, it made her feel safer than she had in years. As she stood to return to work, he stood with her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Thank you, he said softly, for giving me a chance when you have every reason not to. Don't make me regret it, Maya replied, then impulsively rose on her toes to press a quick kiss to his cheek. She left before she could see the way his eyes flared gold, the way his hands clenched at his sides to keep from pulling her back, the way his entire body vibrated with the need to claim her as his. Outside on the street, Kai pulled out a phone from his pocket, not the cheap burner one might expect from someone living on the streets, but a sleek, expensive model. He dialed a number from memory. Marcus, he said when the call connected. It's time. I want the full background check on Maya Chen, but discreetly. No contact with her, no one approaching her. I also want security on her 24/7. She's not to know about it. Boss, are you sure about this? The voice on the other end asked. You've been playing homeless for 3 weeks. Eventually, someone's going to recognize you. Let them, Kai replied, watching through the coffee shop window as Maya walked back toward the diner. I've found what I've been searching for. I'm not letting her go now. Not when I finally understand what's been missing from my life. He hung up and pulled the hood of his sweatshirt up, melting back into the role of invisible homeless man. But inside, his wolf prowled restlessly, already counting the hours until Saturday, until he could see her again. Until he could begin showing Maya Chen that she'd just had coffee with the most powerful man in the city. Chapter 3 Saturday arrived with the kind of clear autumn sky that made everything seem possible. Maya dressed carefully in the only nice jeans she owned and a soft blue sweater that brought out her eyes. Lily wore her favorite dress, the one with the butterflies that Maya had found at the thrift store. We're meeting Kai for dinner, Maya explained as she braided her daughter's hair. Remember, best behavior. The man from outside the diner? Lily asked, her dark eyes bright with curiosity. The one who helped you. That's right. He's a friend. Was he, though? Maya wasn't sure what to call someone she'd known for less than a week. Someone who made her heart race and her skin feel too warm. Someone who looked at her like she was precious rather than broken. The pizza place was already crowded when they arrived, families filling the booths, the arcade in the back ringing with electronic sounds and children's laughter. Maya spotted Kai. Immediately, he stood near the entrance, and her breath caught at the sight of him. He dressed up. Not formally, but he wore dark jeans and a navy button-down that emphasized his broad shoulders. His dark hair was styled back, revealing the sharp planes of his face. He looked expensive, she realized with a jolt. Nothing like the homeless man she'd met days before. Maya. His face lit up when he saw her, that intense amber gaze softening with genuine warmth. Then his attention dropped to Lily, and something in his expression shifted, gentled. And you must be Lily. He knelt down to be at her level, and Maya's heart squeezed at the gesture. So many men had ignored her daughter, looked past her as if she were invisible, but Kai gave Lily his full attention. I'm Kai, he said seriously. Your mother tells me you like butterflies. Lily nodded shyly, then pointed to her dress. I have butterflies. Beautiful ones, too. Did you know that butterflies can see colors we can't? They see in ultraviolet, which means the world looks completely different to them than it does to us. Really? Lily's eyes went wide. What else do they see? How about we talk about it over pizza? Kai suggested. I heard this place makes the best pepperoni in the city. He stood and gestured toward a booth he'd clearly reserved. It was the best one in the restaurant, positioned away from the noise but with a perfect view of the arcade. As they slid into their seats, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Not wrong, exactly, but unusual. The waitress who approached them practically bowed. Sir. Welcome. What can I get you? We'll start with a large pepperoni pizza, cheese breadsticks, and whatever drinks the ladies would like. Kai's voice held an undertone of command that seemed at odds with his supposed circumstances. Just water for me, Maya said. And apple juice for Lily, please. As the waitress scurried away, Maya leaned across the table. Kai, about dinner. I insist on paying my share. No. The word was gentle but absolute. You bought me coffee with money you couldn't spare. Let me return the favor. Coffee is $5. This dinner will cost less than what your kindness meant to me. His hand found hers on the table, and heat radiated from the contact. Please, Maya. Let me do this. She wanted to argue, but the way he looked at her made the words die in her throat, like she was something precious. Like her independence and pride were traits to admire rather than obstacles to overcome. Okay, she agreed softly. Thank you. Dinner was surprisingly easy. Kai engaged Lily with questions about her favorite colors, her drawings, what she wanted to be when she grew up. He listened with genuine interest, never condescending, treating her 4-year-old opinions with the same respect he gave Maya's. An artist, Lily declared when asked about her future. Like Mama was supposed to be. Maya felt her cheeks warm. I studied art history in college. Before I was born. Lily finished matter-of-factly. Mama says I'm worth more than any college. She's absolutely right, Kai said. But his eyes were on Maya now, seeing past the practiced smile to the dreams she'd buried. Though it's never too late to pick up old passions. What kind of art did you study? Renaissance painting, mostly. I was fascinated by the way artists could capture light, make two-dimensional surfaces seem alive. Maya heard the wistfulness in her own voice. I used to spend hours in museums, getting lost in the brushstrokes. The Metropolitan has a new Renaissance exhibition opening next month, Kai said casually. You should go. I can't afford museum admission, Maya replied, then winced at how bitter she sounded. Sorry. I didn't mean to. Don't apologize for reality. He squeezed her hand. But Maya, What if I told you that admission doesn't have to be a barrier, that there are ways to experience art again? Like, what? Sneak in after hours? She tried to laugh, but it came out strained. Or I could take you, as my guest. When she opened her mouth to protest, he continued. Before you refuse, know that I have connections at the museum. I can get passes. It wouldn't cost you anything. You have connections? Maya's eyes narrowed slightly. For someone who was homeless last week, you seem to have a lot of resources. Something flickered in Kai's expression. Guilt, perhaps, or calculation. I told you I wasn't always homeless. I still have friends. People who owe me favors. It was a partial truth, she sensed. Not quite a lie, but not the whole story either. Before she could press further, Lily tugged on her sleeve. Mama, can I play games? Kai pulled a $20 bill from his pocket and handed it to the waitress passing by. Could you exchange this for game tokens? Kai, that's too much. It's an arcade. Let her be a kid for a night. His voice held a gentle command that made it hard to argue. Maya watched Lily run off to the arcade, then turned back to Kai with a mixture of gratitude and confusion. Who are you really? What do you mean? I mean that homeless people don't usually carry $20 bills to spend on arcade tokens. They don't have connections at major museums. They don't speak with the kind of authority that makes waitresses practically curtsy. She leaned forward. So who are you, Kai? Really? He was quiet for a long moment, those amber eyes studying her intently. Finally, he sighed. You're right. I haven't been entirely honest with you. Maya's heart sank. So you're not homeless? I am currently without a permanent residence, he said carefully. But you're right that my circumstances aren't quite what they appear. The truth is complicated, Maya. Dangerous, even. I've been staying off the grid for reasons that have nothing to do with poverty, and everything to do with survival. Survival from what? From people who want to control what I do, who I am. From a life that was suffocating me. He reached across the table, taking both her hands in his. I know this sounds cryptic. I know you deserve better than half-truths. But there are things about my life, about what I am, that I can't explain yet. Not without putting you and Lily at risk. At risk from what? Fear crept into Maya's voice. Are you in trouble? Are you running from the law? No, nothing illegal. I swear on everything I hold sacred, I would never endanger you or your daughter. But my life is complicated in ways that are hard to explain without sounding insane. Maya pulled her hands back, her mind racing. This was it. The moment when the fairy tale crumbled. The mysterious man with amber eyes wasn't a hidden prince but a criminal, or a con artist, or worse. I should go, she said, standing abruptly. This was a mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. Maya, please. Kai stood as well, his voice urgent but not demanding. I know I'm asking a lot, asking you to trust someone who's keeping secrets. But I'm asking anyway because I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. Because these past few days, getting to know you, have been the first time in years I've felt like myself. Please, give me a chance to prove that my secrets aren't the kind that will hurt you. How can I trust that? She whispered, acutely aware that other diners were starting to stare. Because I'm trusting you with the truth that I'm not who I appear to be. Because I'm giving you the power to walk away right now, and we both know you should use it. But I'm hoping, God, Maya, I'm hoping you won't. That you'll take a leap of faith with me. She looked into his eyes and saw raw vulnerability there, fear of rejection so profound it made her chest ache. Whatever his secrets were, his emotions were real. The way he looked at her was real. One more chance, she heard herself say. But Kai, if I find out you've lied about anything that could hurt my daughter, I'll leave and never contact you again, he promised. Your daughter's safety comes before everything, including what I feel for you. The sincerity in his voice, the absolute conviction, made her decision. Okay, but no more secrets between us, not about anything important. Agreed. Relief flooded his features. Thank you, Maya, for trusting me when I haven't entirely earned it. They sat back down, and the rest of dinner passed with lighter conversation, though the tension of unspoken truths hummed beneath every word. When Lily returned from the arcade, flushed and happy, Kai's entire demeanor shifted back to gentle playfulness. "Did you win anything?" he asked. "Tickets!" Lily displayed a ribbon of arcade tickets proudly. 50 of them. "Impressive. What are you going to trade them for?" As Lily debated between a plastic ring and a stuffed bear, Maya watched Kai with new eyes. He was hiding something significant, but the way he smiled at her daughter, the gentle patience in his voice, the protective stance he'd taken when defending her at the diner, those things couldn't be faked. Maybe, she thought, some secrets were worth keeping if the person hiding them was worth knowing. Later, as they stood outside the pizza place in the November cold, Lily clutching her new stuffed bear, Kai walked them to the bus stop. "Let me call you a car," he offered. "We take the bus," Maya said firmly. "We always take the bus." "Maya." "No." She softened the word with a small smile. "I appreciate everything tonight. But I need to maintain some independence, some normalcy." He nodded slowly, understanding flickering in his eyes. "Then at least let me wait with you until it arrives." They stood together in comfortable silence, Lily between them chattering about her evening. When the bus pulled up, Kai caught Maya's hand. "Can I see you again?" he asked. "Soon?" "Monday. I have the afternoon off. We could go to that park Lily likes." "It's a date." He hesitated, then leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. The contact sent warmth flooding through her, and she found herself leaning into him for just a moment before pulling back. "Good night, Kai." "Good night, Maya, Lily." He waved at them through the bus window as it pulled away. Once they were out of sight, Kai pulled out his phone. "Marcus, I need you to make sure Maya Chen's rent is paid for the next 6 months, anonymously. Also, set up a trust fund for her daughter's education. She can't know it's from me. Boss, she's going to figure out something's up when money starts appearing. Then make it look like it's from a charity, a scholarship fund. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure she and her daughter are taken care of." Kai's voice hardened. "And Marcus? I want security doubled on them. Anyone who comes near them, I want to know about it." "Understood. For what it's worth, she seems like a good woman." "She's extraordinary," Kai corrected. "And she's mine, my wolf. Knows it, even if she doesn't yet." He hung up and stared at the departing bus, his mind already planning their next meeting. Soon he would tell her everything. Who he really was, what he really was, the empire he'd built and the powers he commanded. But not yet. Not until he was sure she could accept all of him, man and wolf, billionaire and beast. For now, he would be content with simply being close to her, with earning her trust one moment at a time, even if keeping his secrets felt like slowly tearing himself apart. Chapter 4. The following Monday afternoon, Maya pushed Lily on the swings in Riverside Park, watching her daughter's dark curls fly with each arc through the autumn air. Kai sat on the bench beside her, close enough that their shoulders nearly touched, far enough to maintain propriety. "Higher, Mama," Lily called, and Maya gave her an extra push, laughing at her daughter's delighted shriek. "You're good with her," Kai observed. "Patient, present." So many parents these days seem to be elsewhere even when they're physically there. "I don't have the luxury of being elsewhere," Maya replied. "She's all I have. All that matters." "What about you?" Kai asked quietly. "Don't you matter?" The question surprised her. "Of course I matter. But being a mother doesn't mean erasing yourself." He turned to face her fully. "You can be a good mother and still have needs, dreams, desires of your own," says the man who doesn't have children. "No," he agreed. "But I understand sacrifice. I understand giving up pieces of yourself for duty, for responsibility. And I know that eventually, if you give away too much, there's nothing left when the responsibility ends." Maya was quiet for a moment, watching Lily slow her swing to a gentle sway. "Sometimes I forget what I wanted before she was born. It's been so long since I thought about anything beyond survival." "Tell me one thing," Kai urged. "One dream you haven't completely buried." She almost deflected, with humor, or changed the subject entirely. but something in his eyes invited honesty. I wanted to write, she admitted. Art criticism, historical analysis. I had this idea for a book about Renaissance painters and their use of light as metaphor. Silly, probably. Who would read something like that? I would, Kai said immediately. It sounds fascinating. Why can't you still write it? When exactly would I do that? Between my morning shift and my evening shift? While I'm doing laundry at midnight because that's the only time the machines at my building are free? She heard the bitterness creeping into her voice and tried to dial it back. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. I have Lily, I have a job. You're allowed to want more, Maya. His hand found hers on the bench, fingers intertwining with natural ease. Ambition isn't a betrayal of motherhood. Before she could respond, a well-dressed woman approached the swings, her designer handbag probably worth more than Maya's entire monthly salary. Excuse me, is this your daughter? Maya's protective instincts flared immediately. Yes. Why? I'm Amanda Hartwell, from the Riverside Academy for Gifted Children. She smiled warmly. I couldn't help but notice her playing. She has remarkable focus and creativity for her age. Have you considered applying for early admission programs? Maya's throat tightened. Those programs cost money I don't have. We offer full scholarships for exceptional students. Amanda continued. Based on merit and need. If you're interested, I'd be happy to send you information. It sounded too good to be true. Maya glanced at Kai, who was watching the interaction with an expression she couldn't quite read. Yes. Thank you. That would be wonderful. Amanda handed her a business card, then walked away. Maya stared at the card, hope and suspicion warring in her chest. That was fortunate, she said slowly. Yes, it was. Kai's voice was carefully neutral. Maya turned to face him fully. Kai, did you arrange that? What? No. I've never met that woman before in my life. She wanted to believe him. But something about the timing, the way he wasn't meeting her eyes quite directly, made her doubt. Are you sure? Because it seems awfully convenient. Maya. He took her other hand now, holding both gently. I swear to you, I had nothing to do with that woman approaching you. But would it be so terrible if opportunity finds you? If good things happen? Good things don't just happen to people like me, Maya said quietly. Not without a catch. The sadness in his eyes told her he understood more than she'd meant to reveal. Then maybe it's time that changed. Maybe you've paid your dues to the universe, and now it's paying you back. I don't believe in cosmic justice. Then believe in me. He leaned closer, and she felt the warmth of him, that wild scent of pine and mountain air. Believe that I see something extraordinary in you and your daughter, that I want good things for you, even if I can't always explain why or how they happen. That's asking a lot. I know. His thumb traced circles on the back of her hand, the gesture sending shivers up her arm. But I'm asking anyway. They were interrupted by Lily running over, breathless and pink-cheeked. Mama, I'm hungry. Can we get ice cream? It's almost dinner time, baby. Please? Lily turned those huge dark eyes on Kai. You like ice cream, right? I love ice cream, Kai confirmed solemnly, especially chocolate. Me too, Lily bounced excitedly. We're the same. Maya found herself smiling despite her concerns. Fine. But just a small cone. And then we have to go home for real dinner. As they walked to the ice cream cart at the park's entrance, Kai kept pace with them, his presence solid and reassuring. Maya found herself relaxing despite her better judgment, leaning into the warmth of his arm when he casually draped it across her shoulders. This, walking through the park, with a man who made her feel seen, watching her daughter laugh without worry, this was dangerous. Because she could get used to it, could start believing in fairy tales again. And she'd learned the hard way that fairy tales always ended when reality came calling. After ice cream, as the sun began its descent toward the horizon, Kai walked them to the bus stop. Same time next week? He asked. I have a double shift next week. But maybe the week after? Disappointment flickered across his features, quickly masked. Of course. Whenever works for you. Kai. Maya hesitated, then made a decision. Would you want to come over for dinner sometime? Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and garlic bread. But it would mean something. To have you in my home, to let you into that part of my life. His eyes flared with something intense, triumph, possession, joy all mixed together. I would love that, more than you know. Friday, if you're free? I'll make sure I'm free. As the bus arrived and Maya helped Lily climb aboard, Kai caught her hand one more time. Maya, thank you for trusting me with this. Don't make me regret it, she replied, but there was warmth in her voice now, not warning. She watched him through the window as the bus pulled away, noting how he stood watching until they were out of sight. There was something almost possessive about his stance, protective in a way that should have alarmed her but instead made her feel safer than she had in years. What she didn't see was the way his eyes shifted as soon as she was gone, amber brightening to burnished gold. Didn't see him pull out his phone and make a series of rapid calls, his voice dropping to a commanding tone completely at odds with the gentleman she'd spent the afternoon with. The apartment building Maya lives in, I want it bought, today. And I want the rent control maintained but the building upgraded. Security, new appliances, repairs. Make it safe without making it obvious. Also, that scholarship, Amanda mentioned. Make sure Lily gets it. Full ride, no questions asked. And Marcus? I want a complete security detail on them. Invisible but constant. No one gets near them without me knowing about it. After hanging up, Kai allowed his human facade to slip for just a moment. His canines lengthened slightly, his eyes glowing with predatory intensity. His wolf was getting restless, impatient with the deception, wanting to claim what instinct told him was his. But Maya wasn't ready. Not for the truth about what he was, who he was, the power he commanded. She needed to know him as just Kai first, not the billionaire, not the alpha, just the man who'd fallen irrevocably. Impossibly in love with a struggling single mother who'd shown him kindness when he'd needed it most. Soon, he promised himself. Soon she would know everything. He just hoped she would still look at him the same way when she learned he'd been lying to her from the start. Chapter 5 Friday evening arrived with Maya in a panic she hadn't experienced since Lily's birth. She'd cleaned her tiny apartment 3 times, trying to see it through Kai's eyes, the cramped space, the secondhand furniture, the toys scattered across every surface despite her best efforts. It's fine, she muttered to herself, stirring the spaghetti sauce for the 10th time. It's just dinner. He's seen you at your worst already. But this was different. This was inviting him into her home, into the life she'd built from nothing. This was crossing a line from casual dating into something more serious, more real. The knock came at 6 o'clock precisely. Maya opened the door to find Kai standing there with a bottle of wine and a bouquet of wildflowers. Nothing expensive or showy, just simple beauty that somehow felt more meaningful than roses. Hi, she managed, suddenly shy. Hi. His eyes traveled past her, taking in the small apartment, and she braced herself for judgment. Instead, his expression softened. You've made it. Beautiful. Warm. It feels like a home. Maya felt tension she hadn't realized she'd been holding release from her shoulders. It's not much, but it's ours. Kai! Lily came running from her room, the butterfly dress from their pizza dinner still, her favorite. Did you come for spaghetti? I did. I heard your mama makes the best spaghetti in the city. She does, and she let me help make garlic bread. Dinner was easier than Maya had expected. Kai seemed perfectly comfortable in her cramped kitchen, helping to set the table, pouring wine for the adults and juice for Lily. He asked about the drawings taped to the refrigerator, complimented the mismatched plates she'd collected from thrift stores, made Lily giggle with silly jokes about talking meatballs. It felt domestic. Natural. Like this was something they'd done 100 times before rather than a first. After dinner, while Lily played with her toys in the corner, Maya and Kai sat on her second-hand couch, close enough that their thighs touched, wine glasses balanced on their knees. Thank you for having me, Kai said quietly. I know this wasn't easy for you. Why do you say that? Because you're fiercely independent. Because letting someone in means risking being hurt again. Because this apartment, this life you've built, it's your sanctuary, and I'm honored you chose to share it with me. Maya looked at him, really looked at him, and found herself saying, "Sometimes I wonder if you're real, if this is real. Men like you don't notice women like me. Men like me?" Kai set down his wine glass and turned to face her fully. "Maya, you have no idea what kind of man I am." "Then tell me." She set down her own glass, emboldened by wine and the intimacy of the moment. "Tell me who you really are. No more evasions or half-truths." He was quiet for a long moment, conflict clear in his expression. Finally, he spoke. "I'm wealthy, Maya. Very wealthy. I own property throughout the city. Buildings, businesses, land. I've spent the last 3 weeks pretending to be homeless because I needed to disappear for a while. Needed to remember who I was beneath the money and the power." Maya's heart skipped a beat. "How wealthy?" "Wealthy enough that money will never be a concern for you or Lily again, if you let me help you. Wealthy enough that I could buy your apartment building tomorrow if I wanted to." He paused. "Wealthy enough that I already have." She pulled back, shock and anger warring on her face. "What? The scholarship Amanda offered? I arranged it. The building upgrades you've probably noticed, new security, the broken appliances being fixed? That was me too. I know I should have asked, should have been honest from the start, but Maya, I couldn't stand seeing you struggle when I had the means to help." "So what, I'm your charity case?" Maya stood abruptly, pacing the small space. "Another poor person for the billionaire to rescue?" "No." Kai stood as well, his voice urgent. "You're the woman I'm falling in love with. The woman who saw me as a person when I was pretending to be nothing. The woman who gave me her last $5 without hesitation. I'm not trying to rescue you. I'm trying to be part of your life in the only way I know how." "By lying to me?" Her voice rose, and she glanced at Lily to make sure she was still absorbed in her toys. "By manipulating my circumstances without my knowledge or consent?" "Yes." He didn't flinch from the accusation. "Because I knew if I told you the truth, you'd push me away. Your pride wouldn't allow you to accept help, wouldn't allow yourself to be vulnerable with someone who had so much more than you did." "You're right about that," Maya said coldly. "I would have. And you know why? Because I've spent 4 years rebuilding my life from nothing. 4 years proving I could survive on my own, that I didn't need anyone. And then you come along and just..." She gestured helplessly. "You take away all the control I worked so hard to achieve." "I know." Kai moved closer, slowly, as if approaching a frightened animal. "And I'm sorry. Not for wanting to help you, but for doing it without asking first. For taking away your agency because I was too impatient, too desperate to show you that I could take care of you." "I don't need to be taken care of," Maya insisted, but her voice wavered. "Everyone needs to be taken care of sometimes," Kai said gently. "Even the strongest people. Especially the strongest people. Because they're so used to bearing everything alone that they forget what it's like to have someone share the weight." Maya felt tears prickling at her eyes. "I don't know if I can trust you after this." "I know. And I'll spend however long it takes earning that trust back." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and cupped her face gently in his hands. "But Maya, I need you to understand something. What I feel for you isn't because you're struggling or because I see you as a project. I've known women with wealth, with status, with every advantage. None of them made me feel the way you do. None of them saw me the way you do." "How do I see you?" she whispered. "Like I'm worth something beyond my bank account. Like the man matters more than the money. Like I'm enough exactly as I am." His thumb traced her cheekbone, catching a tear that had escaped. "You have no idea how rare that is, how precious. I don't want your money, Kai. I know. That's one of the reasons I love you." The declaration hung between them, charged and dangerous. Maya's breath caught. "You can't mean that. We've known each other less than 2 weeks. Time is irrelevant when you've found what you've been searching for your entire life." His forehead touched hers, and she felt the warmth of his breath against her lips. "I know this is fast. I know I've given you every reason not to trust me. But Maya, I am completely, irrevocably in love with you. With your strength, your kindness, your refusal to be broken by circumstances that would have destroyed others. You are extraordinary, and I will spend the rest of my life proving that you can trust me with your heart. Kai. She didn't know what to say, torn between the desire to believe him and the fear that this was too good to be true, that men like him didn't really fall for women like her. You don't have to say it back, he continued. You don't have to say anything right now. Just don't shut me out completely. Let me prove that my feelings are real, that I see you for who you are, not what I can do for you. Maya looked into his eyes and saw raw vulnerability there, fear of rejection so profound it matched her own. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe someone really could see past her circumstances to the person beneath. Okay, she heard herself say. But Kai, no more secrets. No more doing things behind my back, no matter how well-intentioned. If we're going to try this, really try this, it has to be as equals. No matter what a matter, how different our bank accounts are. Relief flooded his features. Deal. Complete honesty from here on out. Starting now. Tell me everything. How you made your money, why you were pretending to be homeless, what you're not telling me about yourself. Kai took a deep breath, then led her back to the couch. This might take a while, and some of it is going to sound impossible. Try me. I made my fortune in real estate development, but that's not the whole story. There's something else about me, something I haven't told you because it's difficult to explain and even harder to believe. He paused, seeming to gather courage. Maya, I'm not entirely human. She blinked. What? I'm a shifter, a wolf. I can change forms, become an animal. And I'm not just any shifter. I'm an alpha, the most powerful one in this territory. I control most of the city's paranormal community. Maya stared at him, searching his face for any sign he was joking. He looked deadly serious. You're telling me that werewolves are real? Yes. And you're one of them. Yes. She should laugh, should call him crazy and ask him to leave. But something in his eyes, that amber glow she'd noticed before, suddenly made sense. The way he moved, too fluid, too predatory. The way he seemed to know things before they happened. The way her instincts both warned her away from him and pulled her toward him. Prove it, she said. Kai glanced at Lily, still playing quietly in the corner. Not here, not now. But I will show you, when you're ready. When it won't frighten you. I'm not sure anything about you could frighten me more than the idea of letting myself fall for you and having you break my heart, Maya said quietly. I won't. The vow was absolute. Maya, in my world, in my culture, there's something called a mate bond. It's rare, precious. When a wolf finds their mate, they know. The recognition is instant, undeniable. From the moment I saw you, my wolf knew. You're mine, Maya. Not in a possessive way, but in the way that means I'm yours too. Completely. Irrevocably. That's... She didn't have words for what it was. Overwhelming. Terrifying. Strangely compelling. Insane. Kai finished with a slight smile. I know, but it's true. You can feel it, can't you? This pull between us? It's not just attraction or chemistry. It's recognition at a soul-deep level. She couldn't deny it. From that first moment outside the diner, she'd felt something she couldn't explain, something that defied logic and self-preservation. I need time, she said finally. Time to process all of this. The money, the lies, the whole werewolf thing. Take all the time you need. He stood, clearly preparing to leave. I'll give you space. But Maya? I'm not going anywhere. Whenever you're ready, I'll be here. At the door, he turned back. One more thing. The reason I was living on the streets, pretending to be homeless, I was hiding from my responsibilities, from the weight of being alpha. But you reminded me why those responsibilities matter. Why protecting people, providing for them, using my power for good. Why all of that matters. You made me want to be the man I was supposed to be all along. After he left, Maya sat in the quiet apartment, her mind reeling. Werewolves, mate bonds. Billionaire Alphas. It sounded like a romance novel, not real life. But the way her heart ached at his absence, the way her skin still felt warm where he'd touched her, that was real. The question was whether she was brave enough to embrace it. Chapter 6. Maya didn't contact Kai for 3 days. She went to work, took care of Lily, tried to process everything he'd told her. Werewolves, mate bonds, the idea that someone could be destined for you, that fate actually intervened in human affairs. It should have been easy to dismiss as fantasy. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw the amber glow in Kai's eyes, remembered the predatory grace in how he moved, felt that pull toward him that transcended logic. On the 4th day, she opened her mailbox to find an envelope with no return address. Inside was a museum pass to the Renaissance exhibition she'd mentioned wanting to see, along with a simple note in bold handwriting. No pressure, no expectations. But if you want to reclaim a piece of yourself, this is yours. Bring Lily. I'd like to see the world through her eyes. Maya stood in the hallway of her apartment building, staring at the pass, and felt something crack in her chest. He remembered. He'd listened. And he was giving her space, while still showing her she mattered. That night, she called the number he'd given her. He answered on the first ring. Maya. The museum, she said. Tomorrow afternoon. Lily and I will meet you there. Thank you. She heard relief in his voice. Thank you for giving me another chance. I'm not promising anything, she warned. But I think we both deserve to explore what this is. Whatever happens. That's all I'm asking. The next afternoon, Maya dressed carefully, not in her waitress uniform or her threadbare clothes, but in a dress she'd been saving for job interviews that never materialized. Simple, navy blue, but it made her feel like herself. Like the art student she'd once been before life had other plans. Lily wore her butterfly dress again, practically vibrating with excitement about seeing real paintings. Kai was waiting at the museum entrance, and Maya's breath caught at the sight of him. He wore dark slacks and a charcoal sweater that emphasized his broad shoulders. His dark hair swept back to reveal the sharp planes of his face. He looked expensive, powerful, every inch the billionaire he'd claimed to be, but when he saw them, his entire face softened with genuine warmth. You came. I said I would. Maya let him take her hand, noting how perfectly their fingers fit together. The exhibition was breathtaking. Renaissance masters lined the walls. Caravaggio's dramatic use of light and shadow. Raphael's perfect proportions. Titian's rich colors. Maya found herself drawn from one painting to the next, her art history knowledge flooding back, the joy she'd forgotten she could feel awakening. Kai stayed close, asking questions, genuinely interested in her analysis. When she explained how Caravaggio used tenebrism to heighten drama, he listened with the same focus he'd given Lily's explanations about butterflies. You should write that book, he said as they stood before a painting of Mary Magdalene, her face half in shadow, half in light. The one about Renaissance painters and light as metaphor. You have so much knowledge, so much passion for this. It would be criminal to let it go to waste. I don't have time to write a book. I barely have time to sleep. What if you did have time? Kai turned to face her fully, and several other museum-goers glanced their way, clearly responding to his presence. What if you didn't have to work double shifts at the diner? What if you could pursue your passion while still providing for Lily? That's not realistic. It could be. Maya, I know you don't want charity. But what if I'm offering partnership? You've mentioned before that you hate the idea of being dependent. So don't be. Let me help you start your writing career, and when the book is published, when it makes money, and it will, you can pay me back. Or don't. Consider it an investment in something I believe in, you. Maya felt tears prickling at her eyes. Why? Why do you believe in me so much when we barely know each other? Because I see you, he said simply. Not who you've had to become to survive, but who you are beneath the exhaustion and the struggle. And that person is extraordinary. Mama, look! Lily tugged on her hand, pointing to a painting of angels. They have wings! Like butterflies. Maya wiped her eyes quickly and knelt down to Lily's level. They do, baby. The artist wanted to show that angels could fly, just like butterflies. Can I fly when I grow up? Maybe not literally. Kai said, crouching beside them. But you can soar in other ways. By being brave, by learning new things, by never letting anyone tell you what you're capable of. He met Maya's eyes over Lily's head, and she saw in his expression a promise that extended to both of them. He would help them fly, would give them wings when the world had clipped them. After the museum, they walked through the nearby park, Lily running ahead to chase pigeons. Kai kept pace with Maya, their hands linked naturally. I've been thinking about what you told me, Maya said, about being a shifter, about this mate bond. And I don't know if I believe in destiny, or fate, or any of that. But I do believe in what I feel when I'm with you. This sense of safety, of being understood. I've never felt that before. Not even when I thought I was in love with Lily's father. What did you feel with him? Kai asked. Desperation, mostly. The desire to be chosen, to matter to someone. But with you. She trailed off, searching for words. With you, I already feel chosen. Like I matter not because of what I can give you, but just because of who I am. You do matter. He stopped walking, turning to face her fully. Maya, I need you to understand something. In my world, the mate bond is sacred, unbreakable. When I tell you that you're mine, it doesn't mean I own you. It means I'm bound to you in ways that transcend choice or logic. Your happiness is my happiness. Your pain is my pain. Protecting you, providing for you, it's not obligation. It's instinct as fundamental as breathing. That's a lot of responsibility to put on someone you've known for a few weeks. I know. And if it's too much, if you need me to back off, I will. But Maya, I won't stop being what I am. I won't stop wanting you, needing you. The bond doesn't fade just because it's inconvenient. Maya studied his face, seeing the raw honesty there, the vulnerability of someone, offering everything and hoping it would be enough. Show me, she said suddenly. Show you what? Your wolf. You said you would when I was ready. I'm ready now. Kai glanced around the park, clearly calculating risks. Not here, too public. But if you come home with me, to my real home, I'll show you everything. The penthouse I own, the life I've been living, and yes, my wolf. When? Tonight. After Lily's asleep, I'll send a car for you. I'll have someone I trust come stay with her, Mrs. Chen from the building. She's one of mine. A trusted pack member who'll guard your daughter with her life. The casual mention of pack members, of the supernatural infrastructure Maya had never known existed, should have been alarming. Instead, it felt like pieces of a puzzle finally clicking into place. Okay, she agreed. Tonight. Later, after putting Lily to bed, Maya opened her door to find an elderly Asian woman with kind eyes and an air of competent authority. Maya Chen, the woman said, with a slight bow. I'm Linda Chen, no relation, though the shared name amused the alpha. I understand you need someone to watch your daughter while you visit him. You're a... Maya lowered her voice. A shifter? Indeed. A wolf, like our alpha. You need not fear for your child's safety. I have grandchildren of my own, and I would defend yours as fiercely. Something in the woman's eyes convinced Maya she spoke truth. She let Mrs. Chen in, showed her where everything was, then changed into the one nice outfit she owned, the navy dress from the museum. The car that arrived was exactly what she'd expected, from a billionaire. Sleek, black, expensive. The driver held the door for her with professional courtesy, and Maya sank into leather seats that probably cost more than her monthly rent. The ride took them from her marginal neighborhood to the heart of the city's downtown, pulling into an underground garage of a building that screamed wealth and power. The elevator required a key, card just to access the penthouse level. When the doors opened directly into Kai's home, Maya stepped into a space that took her breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering city. Modern art adorned the walls, including, she noted with a skip of her heart, a small Caravaggio that must be worth millions. The furnishings were minimalist but clearly expensive, all clean lines and quality materials. And in the center of it all stood Kai, wearing dark jeans and a simple white shirt, looking more comfortable and powerful than she'd ever seen him. "Welcome," he said simply, "to my real life." Maya walked slowly into the space, taking in details. Books everywhere, not just art history, but philosophy, science, literature. A telescope by the window. Photographs of people who had his eyes, his features, suggesting family she hadn't known about. "This is really who you are," she said, not quite a question. "This is part of it. The money, the power, the responsibilities. But the man you've been getting to know, the one who likes Renaissance art and silly jokes with 4-year-olds, he's real too. More real than anything else in my life." "Show me the wolf," Maya said, turning to face him. "I need to see all of you before I can make any decisions about what comes next." Kai nodded slowly. "It will be frightening. The wolf is large, powerful. But Maya, you have to trust that I would never hurt you. That even in wolf form, I would die before I let harm come to you." "I trust you," she said, and realized with surprise that it was true. He moved to the center of the large living room, giving himself space. The change is not pleasant to watch. It's fast, but violent. Don't be alarmed. Then, before her eyes, Kai began to transform. His body contorted, bones shifting with sounds that made her wince in sympathy. Fur rippled across his skin, dark and silver. His face elongated into a muzzle, teeth sharpening. Within seconds, where a man had stood, a massive wolf now crouched, easily the size of a small horse, with eyes that glowed amber gold. Maya's instinct screamed at her to run. Every prey animal part of her brain recognized the predator before her. But she forced herself to stay still, to remember who this was beneath the fur and fangs. "Kai," she whispered. The wolf's ears perked up. He moved toward her slowly, carefully, clearly trying not to spook her. When he was close enough to touch, he lowered his massive head, pressing it gently against her trembling hand. His fur was soft, silky. She ran her fingers through it, marveling at the warmth, the solid reality of him. "You're beautiful," she breathed. The wolf made a sound somewhere between a whine and a purr, leaning into her touch. She found herself kneeling, running both hands through his fur now, no longer afraid but fascinated. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for trusting me with this, for letting me see all of you." The wolf pulled back slightly, and she watched in awe as he changed again, faster this time, more controlled. Within moments, Kai stood before her again, naked, breathing hard from the transformation. Maya immediately averted her eyes, heat flooding her cheeks. She heard him chuckle softly. "Sorry, shifting destroys clothes. Usually I have something nearby to change into." The sound of fabric moving then. "Okay, I'm decent." She looked back to find him in a robe, his dark hair tousled, those amber eyes watching her intently. "What do you think?" "I think," Maya said slowly, "that you're the most incredible person I've ever met. And I think I'm terrified of how much I already care about you. Terrified is better than repulsed. I could never be repulsed by you." She stood, moving closer. "Kai, I need you to understand something. I'm not ready to leap into this completely. I have Lily to think about, a life I've built on my own. But I'm also not ready to walk away from whatever this is between us. So what are you saying?" "I'm saying let's see where this goes. Let's date properly, get to know each other fully. No more secrets, no more lies, just honest exploration of what we might be to each other." She took his hand. "Can you be patient with that?" "I can be patient with anything as long as I know you're not shutting me out completely." He raised her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that sent shivers down her spine. "Maya Chen, will you let me court you properly? Let me show you what it means to be cherished by someone who sees your worth." "Yes," she whispered. "But Kai, I need you to let me keep some independence. Let me still work, still take care of my own daughter. Help me build something, not take over what I've already built. Deal?" He pulled her closer, his forehead touching hers. "Though I reserve the right to spoil Lily occasionally, and to buy you art books, and to take you both to museums. I think I can live with that." They stood there in the penthouse, the city lights glittering below them, and Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Real, genuine hope that maybe, just maybe, fairy tales could come true. Even for struggling single mothers who'd stopped believing in happy endings. Chapter 7. 3 months later, Maya stood in the same penthouse, but this time the context was entirely different. She'd been here dozens of times now, growing comfortable in Kai's space, learning the rhythms of his life. She'd met his pack, the wolves who'd sworn loyalty to him, who protected the city's paranormal community. She'd even started her book, working in the early mornings before her shifts while Lily slept, the words flowing more easily than she'd imagined possible. But tonight was different. Tonight, Kai had asked her to come alone, had arranged for Mrs. Chen to watch Lily, had told her in a voice tight with emotion that they needed to talk. Maya's stomach churned with anxiety. Was he ending things? Had he realized that a billionaire alpha could do better than a waitress with a complicated life? When she arrived, she found him standing by the windows, tension radiating from his shoulders. He turned at her entrance, and she saw something in his eyes that stole her breath. Not regret, but intensity that bordered on desperation. Maya, there's something I need to tell you. Her heart sank. Okay. You know that my position as alpha comes with responsibilities. Politics, alliances, expectations. He moved closer, his hands flexing at his sides as if he wanted to reach for her but was restraining himself. One of those expectations is that I need to choose a mate officially, to bond with someone in the eyes of the pack. I understand, Maya said, even though the words felt like knives. You need someone from your world, someone who fits. No. He closed the distance between them in 2 strides, taking her hands in his. Maya, you're not understanding. I'm asking you to be that mate, to bond with me, to be mine in every way that matters. She stared at him, unable to process the words. What? I love you. The declaration was raw, unguarded. I have loved you from the moment you bought coffee for a homeless stranger with money you couldn't spare. I have loved you through every conversation, every shared moment, every time I've watched you be the most incredible mother to Lily. I want to marry you, Maya. I want to claim you officially as mine. I want to wake up every morning with you beside me, and fall asleep every night with your scent surrounding me. I want to be a father to Lily, to give her the stability and love she deserves. I want everything with you. Kai. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I'm not from your world. I don't know the first thing about being an alpha's mate, about pack politics or shifter culture. How can I possibly? You already know everything that matters. He cupped her face gently. You know how to lead with compassion. You know how to fight for what you believe in. You know how to love fiercely and protect those weaker than yourself. The rest is just details we can learn together. What about Lily? How would this affect her? She would be protected as my daughter, loved as my daughter. No one in this city would dare threaten her, and she would grow up knowing that family isn't defined by blood but by choice. His thumb traced her cheekbone. And Maya, if you're worried about the mate bond itself, about what it means physically, magically, know that it's your choice. Always your choice. I would never force that on you. What does it mean? The mate bond? For wolves, it's a marking, a bite during intimacy that binds our souls together. You would be able to feel what I feel, sense when I'm near, know if I'm in danger, and I would be bound to you in the same way. It's permanent, Maya. Unbreakable. The magnitude of what he was offering struck her. Not just marriage, but something deeper, more profound. A connection that transcended the physical world. I need to think, she said, even though her heart was already screaming yes. This is huge, Kai. It's not just about us anymore. It's about Lily's future, about the life we'd be choosing. I know. He pressed a kiss to her forehead, lingering there as if memorizing the feel of her. Take all the time you need. But Maya, know that my answer won't change. Whether it's today or a year from now, when you're ready, I'll be waiting. That night, Maya lay awake in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling. Mrs. Chen had left hours ago. Lily was asleep in her room, and Maya was alone with the most important decision of her life. She thought about Lily's father, about the man who'd promised forever and delivered abandonment, about the friends who'd drifted away when she could no longer keep up, about her family who'd turned their backs when she chose to keep her pregnancy. Then she thought about Kai, about how he'd defended her at the diner without hesitation, how he'd spent hours in the park making like Tafe, Lily laugh, how he'd believed in her book when she'd stopped believing in herself, how he'd shown her all of himself, man and wolf, strength and vulnerability, and asked for nothing but the chance to be part of her life. She pulled out her phone and typed a message. Yes. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, yes? Yes to all of it. Marriage, mating, everything. I love you too, Kai. I think I've loved you since you first looked at me like I mattered. Her phone rang immediately. Maya. His voice was rough with emotion. Do you mean it? I mean it. I'm terrified, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know that I want to do it with you. She smiled through tears. When? Tomorrow. Next week. Whenever you're ready. But Maya, there's a pack gathering this weekend. A formal event where I introduce new members, make announcements. If you're truly sure, I'd like to claim you then. In front of everyone. Make it official. Okay. Her heart raced. What do I need to do? Just be yourself. Be the woman who made me remember what it means to care about something beyond power and responsibility. The rest will follow. The pack gathering was held in an elegant ballroom of a hotel Kai owned downtown. Maya wore a dress he'd insisted on buying, midnight blue silk that made her feel like someone else, someone who belonged in this world of wealth and power. Lily stayed with Mrs. Chen, and Maya was grateful. This night needed to be about her and Kai, about the commitment they were making. The room was filled with people, some clearly human, others with that predatory grace that marked them as shifters. They all turned when Maya entered on Kai's arm, their eyes assessing, judging. Alpha, a distinguished older man, approached, his eyes sharp as they took in Maya. Is this the woman you spoke of? This is Maya Chen, Kai said, his voice carrying command that made everyone in the room pay attention. My mate. The woman I will bond with tonight. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Maya caught words like human, unsuitable. What is he thinking? Her chin lifted, and she met each judgmental gaze steadily. She'd faced worse than supernatural politics. She'd survived poverty and abandonment, and the daily struggle to keep her daughter fed. These people might be powerful, but they didn't scare her. Maya is under my protection, Kai continued, his voice hardening. Anyone who disrespects her disrespects me. Anyone who threatens her will face me in combat. Is that understood? The room fell silent. One by one, the pack members bowed their heads in submission. All except for one man, standing near the back, his eyes calculating. Alpha Blackwood, he called out. With respect, taking a human mate weakens the pack. It suggests our kind isn't sufficient for you. Kai's eyes flashed gold. Jackson Reed. I should have known you'd use this opportunity to challenge me. Maya's blood ran cold. Reed. The man who'd given her instructions that night, who'd set her on the path to discovering Kai's secret. The man who'd orchestrated everything. I challenge nothing, Reed said smoothly. I merely express concerns shared by others. A human mate cannot defend herself in our world. She becomes a liability. Then perhaps, Maya heard herself say, you shouldn't underestimate what humans are capable of when protecting what they love. Reed's eyes narrowed. Bold words from someone so fragile. Enough. Kai's voice cracked like a whip. Reed, you've opposed me for years, undermined my leadership, questioned my decisions. I've tolerated it because I valued different perspectives. But if you continue to threaten my mate, I will remove you from this pack permanently. I haven't threatened her, Reed replied. Yet. The room exploded into motion. Several pack members moved to restrain Reed, but he shifted in an instant, becoming a massive gray wolf that lunged not at Kai but at Maya. She had 1 second to register the attack, to understand that this was her death coming for her, before Kai's wolf slammed into Reed's with bone-crushing force. The two wolves tore at each other, blood flying, snarls shaking the ballroom. Maya stumbled back, watching in horror as the man she loved fought for her life. But Kai was alpha for a reason. Larger, stronger, more experienced, he quickly gained the upper hand. With a final, savage bite, he tore Reed's throat out. The gray wolf collapsed, shifting back to human form in death. The room fell deathly silent. Kai transformed as well, standing over Reed's body, blood dripping from his jaw. Someone handed him a robe, and he shrugged it on before turning to the assembled pack. "Let this be a lesson," he said, voice carrying to every corner of the room. "My mate is not weak because she's human. She's strong because she's survived circumstances that would have destroyed others. And anyone who threatens her will face the same fate as Reed." He moved to Maya, who stood frozen in shock, and pulled her, gently into his arms. "Are you all right?" "You killed him," she whispered. "I protected you. There's a difference." "He's dead, Kai. You killed a man. I killed a wolf who tried to hurt you." His eyes searched her face. "Maya, in my world, challenges are solved with violence. Reed knew the risks when he lunged at you. He chose this outcome." She tried to process it, tried to reconcile the gentleman who played with her daughter with the predator who'd just ripped out someone's throat. "I need air," she managed. Kai led her out to a balcony overlooking the city. Behind them, the pack meeting continued. Reed's body removed, business resuming as if nothing had happened. "This is your world?" Maya said, gripping the railing. "Death and violence and ancient laws I don't understand." "Yes." "Can I live in this world, Kai? Can I raise Lily in it?" He was quiet for a long moment. "I won't lie and say it's safe. My enemies will see you and Lily as targets, ways to get to me. But Maya, I will spend every day of my life protecting you both. I will use every resource, every ounce of power I have to keep you safe. What if it's not enough? Then I will die defending you." The vow was absolute. "But I won't fail. I can't. You're my mate, Maya, my reason for existing. Without you, I'm just a monster with money." Maya turned to face him, seeing the fear in his eyes, fear that she would walk away, that the reality of his world would be too much. "I'm not going anywhere," she said finally. "But Kai, we need to talk about safety protocols, about how to protect Lily, about what being part of your world really means day to day. Anything, everything, whatever you need to feel secure. And no more secrets. If there are threats, you tell me. You don't try to shield me from the dangerous parts of your life. Deal." They stood together on the balcony, the city lights glittering below, and Maya made her choice. She chose love over fear, chose possibility over safety, chose to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved the fairy tale ending. "When do we do this?" she asked. "The mating bond?" Kai's eyes flared gold. "Now. Tonight. Unless you want to wait." "No." Maya rose on her toes to kiss him, pouring every ounce of certainty into the gesture. "I'm sure. I'm ready. Make me yours, Kai, in every way that matters." Chapter 8. Epilogue. 1 year later, Maya stood in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, not as a visitor, but as the featured speaker for the launch of her book, Light and Shadow, Renaissance Painting as Metaphor. The room was packed, art historians, students, critics, and a front row filled with people who meant everything. Lily, now 5, sat next to Mrs. Chen, wearing a new butterfly dress and clutching a copy of Maya's book like a treasure. Beside them, Kai watched with pride so evident it made Maya's heart swell. On her other side sat the Pack Council, supernatural beings who'd become her unlikely family over the past year. They'd taught her about their world, protected her daughter as fiercely as their own, shown her that family was built through choice and loyalty rather than blood. And on her wrist, barely visible beneath her sleeve, was the mark of Kai's claim, a bite scar that had healed into a beautiful silver pattern. The mate bond hummed between them constantly now, a thread of awareness that meant she always knew when he was near, always felt the echo of his emotions. "Thank you all for coming," Maya began, her voice steady despite her nerves. This book started as a dream I'd almost forgotten, a passion I'd buried beneath the weight of survival. As she spoke about art and light and the metaphors that connected past to present, Maya caught Kai's eye. He mouthed 3 words, "I love you." She smiled, touching the mark on her wrist briefly before continuing her speech. After it ended, after the applause and the congratulations and the book signings, Kai pulled her aside. "I have something to tell you," he said, that familiar intensity in his amber eyes. "What?" "You're pregnant." Maya blinked. "What? How could you possibly—" "The bond. I can smell the change in your scent. It's subtle, but it's there." His hand moved to her still flat stomach, reverence in the gesture. "We're having a baby, Maya." She'd thought she couldn't have children. The doctors had told her Lily was a miracle, that her chances of conceiving again were almost non-existent. Yet here she was, marked by an alpha wolf, and apparently pregnant. "A baby," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Kai, we're having a baby." "A pup," he corrected gently. "Given that I'm the father, the child will likely be a shifter." "I don't care what they are. Human, shifter, it doesn't matter. They'll be ours. Loved, protected." "Fiercely loved," Kai agreed, pulling her into his arms. "Just like their mother. Just like their sister." Lily came running over, Mrs. Chen trailing behind with an indulgent smile. "Mama, can we get ice cream? To celebrate your book?" "Actually," Maya said, kneeling down to her daughter's level, "we're celebrating something else, too. You're going to be a big sister." Lily's eyes went wide. "Really? I'll have a baby sibling?" "Really." Maya glanced up at Kai. "What do you think about that?" "I think," Lily said seriously, "that I'll be the best big sister ever. I'll teach them about butterflies, and how to color in the lines, and why sharing is important." "You'll be amazing," Kai assured her, scooping her up with ease. The best big sister in the whole pack. As they left the museum together, an odd family by any measure, but their family nonetheless, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From struggling single mother to alpha's mate, from lost dreams to published author, from broken to beloved, she'd learned that fairy tales didn't always look the way you expected. Sometimes they started with buying coffee for a homeless man who turned out to be a billionaire wolf. Sometimes they required facing monsters both literal and metaphorical. Sometimes they demanded courage you didn't know you possessed. But when you found the right person, the one who saw your worth when you'd forgotten it yourself, who loved you not despite your struggles but because of the strength they'd forged, that was when magic became real. That was when happily ever after stopped being a fantasy and became a choice you made every single day. "What are you thinking?" Kai asked as they walked through the late afternoon sun, Lily skipping ahead. "That I bought you coffee with my last $5, and you gave me the world in return." He stopped, turning to face her, those amber eyes bright with emotion. "No, Maya. You gave me the world. You reminded me what it meant to be human when I'd forgotten. You taught me that power without compassion is empty. You showed me that the strongest people aren't the ones who've never fallen, but the ones who get back up. We saved each other. Then. We saved each other," he agreed, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "And we'll keep saving each other, every day for the rest of our lives." Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this story of Maya and Kai. It was a bit different, exploring how love can bridge 2 very different worlds, human and supernatural, poverty and wealth, struggle and power. I'd love to know what you thought of it. Did you enjoy this modern paranormal take on the struggling single mom storyline? What was your favorite moment between Maya and Kai? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next story.